Hi guys, how's it going? John here, and today I'm going to do a music related video based on the Help Musicians Record and Release Fund, which I was one of the successful applicants in December. Wasn't my first time applying, it took me a few times to apply, but I'm going to talk a little bit about what the fund is, and then I'm going to mainly talk about some tips that I have as a successful applicant on how I would suggest things to put into the application, and also things to do if you do receive an unsuccessful application, because the good news about this fund is it's an ongoing fund, so you can continuously apply. So if you get rejected, you can work on it and then apply again until you get the fund. I was rejected, I think, 2 times before, and then I received it my 3rd time. So it was, it's always a little bit deflating, isn't it, when you put so much time into a funding application. And with art stuff, music, acting, theatre, all of that stuff, there's so much rejection and there's so many applications to fill out. Sometimes I feel like there should be a fund to do applications, because there's so much to fill out all the time, and film and all of that stuff. So this video is a little bit about how I would suggest to approach the application form and some little tips that I have. But firstly, if you've not heard of it, go to Help Musician. If you're a singer or a musician, go to the helpmusicians.org.uk website. It's a British thing, so I'm not actually too sure on how it is with international applicants. Oh, there might be another fund that they do, which is more specific for international applicants. But this is a British fund for people in the United Kingdom. It's a charity, and this particular fund, the Record and Release Fund, you can have up to £3,000 towards the release. There is also another fund which can be towards your skills, which I think is £1,000 or 1,500. And there's a third fund which can be towards putting your tour together. So maybe like building a tour group or stuff. But this one that I received was the Record and Release. And this is actually, I think, from speaking to someone at Help Musicians, the most popular application, in the sense that they have the most applicants, which then in downfall also means the odds might be a little bit more slim on receiving funding for this application. However, we're going to be positive. And if you are a musician and you're thinking of releasing a new track, or maybe you want something specific, because that's what I wanted, this is the perfect fund for you. And if you might not maybe have access to large amounts of money or a label to fund your release, sometimes money can be a limitation to get you of where you want to be as an artist. So this is a really big help, and it's been a big help to me, and to really set down some groundworks for myself as a musician and to sort of plan the next steps. Another great thing is you get business advice. So you get 2 workshops on Zoom, 2 sessions with each person, and you get a selection of industry professionals who you can work with, which is such an incredible opportunity. I chose sync, so I really want to get my music on TV and film, so I had like 2 sync workshops because I know nothing about it, and it was really helpful. And then I've also got another one upcoming, which is all about being sort of like a self-release person, releasing your own music yourself. And that's what I'll be doing with my next track. It's not going to be through a label, so it's all super helpful stuff. Like, I'm really in appreciation of it all. You might see my cat. My cat is just drawing the video now. Hi, Blue. Blue's just coming to say hello, aren't you? Oh, great. And just walk across the screen. It's okay. It's fine. And now he's just licking himself. My first tip then is be to the point. So with my application, there's not a lot of word count. There isn't. And the first time I applied, I had a lot of waffle in there. Just cut it out. And I think the feedback I got was that there's too much waffle. They don't need to know everything, and they're going to get a lot of similar things, I'm assuming, of like, I'm passionate about this, passionate about that. Of course, that enthusiasm can come through, but just be specific and to the point. Like, there's a question which is, what are you going to do, like with the fund, and it's quite like a broad question. Just say exactly what you're going to do, who you're going to do it with, when are you going to do it. That's it. And a lot of mine was that I was going to, like, a few sentences. I'm going to work with this photographer to get these photos, because I've never had professional pictures before, because I've never been able to afford them. Next paragraph, I want to work with this producer. I've worked with him before. I'd love to be able to pay him and I'd dedicate time to the song. Next question. And next paragraph, and just be really to the point. It doesn't need to be super long-winded. And I think if they just see you know what you're doing, you've got that confidence. I think that makes a difference. The second one I think is don't spread the money too thin. It's only £3,000, and in the grand scheme of things, you know, in modern day world, that's not actually even a lot of money, and which is quite sad, isn't it, really? But instead of trying to cram too much in, just be really specific. For me, you know, I knew exactly what I wanted a large portion of the money to go to, and I didn't spread it too thin, even though I've tried to cover a lot. I've got photos in there, I've got the release and the recording, the mastering in there, and then I've got some PR in there. But there's other stuff that I wanted to do, but I was just like, you know what, maybe I can apply for something else to get that in the future, and maybe I can just be really specific on my goals for this one. So yeah, don't spread the £3,000 too thin. And I think it's better to have like one aspect of the process that you really want and you're going to put a lot of money into that, rather than maybe like a lot of people to work with who you kind of want, but just because that fits the budget, I think. But maybe you think different. That's what I would say. Number 3, say why this person, and why this song, why now. For me, it was a relaunch of my work. So I released music under John Thacker for a long time, and I did a different video recently talking about the long process of changing my name to John Joseph. But also it was a little bit of like, I've made music for so long and I'm a different person, you know, to when I started making music. My branding's differently. I wanted to just completely still have the music move across to my new name, but just have a complete rebrand with it. And that was my why, you know. I'm also a queer artist, and I didn't start my musical journey as an openly queer artist. I was a closeted artist, so that made a big difference, I think, to who I want to be as an artist, the music that I'm making, and that was a lot of my why. So why now? And I think that made a difference. Well, that's what I got some good feedback from after, which brings me to the next one. Ask for feedback. If you get an unsuccessful application, which I think they do anyway, so I think they're never going to give someone, well, they might do, but from what I've heard from people who have also been successful, they don't seem to give it first time anyway. It tends to be you get the unsuccessful application, and then you can ask for some feedback. So both times I got rejected, I asked for a phone call, and I was really specific. I was like, I feel like I've ticked all these boxes. What can I do? And then it was the second time I was unsuccessful. I got told that I got through to I think they called me that time, and it was really encouraging, because I don't think I was going to apply again, because like I said, it can be quite monotonous, can't it, and quite deflating, because it's like, oh, I just want to make. So much of creativity ends up being admin and stuff, doesn't it? And I got a phone call, which was really encouraging, saying it got to this certain point of the application process, and if I just tweak A, B, and C, and just be clear about it, was actually goes back to the why. It was they wanted to clarify why I wanted to work with a particular company as part of my marketing, and that was it. And then it was successful after that. So I think a part of that is me showing my passion by calling them, and I was really clear with them, which comes to my next one as well. So the final point is have a focus. My focus was I've never been able to afford PR. Like, I've been able to afford like a small PR company that did one of my EPs, very small. It was like a couple of £100, not in the scale that I think my music deserves. So when I had that second conversation with them, I was really clear. I was like, my music is getting streams, my music's getting to listeners. The issue is I just don't have the time, or I feel like I've reached my, I think I used this quote, I feel like I've reached my physical limitations of my physical reach of how many ears I can physically get my music to myself, like through emailing, through sending to bloggers, sending to radio stations, sending to Spotify streams, all of that stuff, Submit Hub, all of that. And I just needed a bit of help with my next release, and I think that'll make a big difference. And I was really clear with why I wanted that, and having that focus. So maybe it's not PR, like maybe it's you've never been able to actually record in a studio before. That's great. Have that focus. Like, I've never been able to do professional photos, was another kind of part of mine, and a professional video. A lot of it was like, I've never been able to afford this, so I've kind of been doing everything DIY, but look at what I've got by doing it DIY myself. So imagine if I could pay people to do that. So that was my sort of angle of the whole application. It was kind of like, here's what I've proven in the past, and here's what I could do if I just had some support from somewhere. Because I saw some statistic the other day, which was ridiculous. It was so it was something like, I don't know. It was a lot of songs every single day going onto Spotify, a lot. And how do you cut through that noise? And that's sort of what I'm thinking for my next release, as well as having the financial backing of being able to contact some PR, maybe some sync, or how do you get noticed by them Spotify playlists as well? And fingers crossed. If you would like to support me as a musician, I'll be happy to repay the favour. If you could Spotify, if you could follow my new Spotify, or if you can star on Apple Music, which is a new feature. My artist name is John Joseph. It's John Joseph now. I changed very recently. There's another video on the process of it all, which was quite long-winded on my channel. But my link is below to my a link tree that has Apple Music and Spotify on. I'm currently setting up my Amazon Music and my Deezer, because I've never really used them properly. And before my next release, which I'm really excited for, I just want to have everything perfect. So if you could follow and check out some of my music, that would be amazing. If you would like to read my successful application for Help Musicians, I am more than happy to send that to you to look over. I'm more than happy to do that. If anyone as well has any other funding recommendations for music, or any sort of tips, or if anyone wants to work together, let me know as well, because I've just got this fund. But like I said, £3,000 isn't a crazy amount of money. Like, it's gonna do amazing things. And for me as well, the big perk of this is the chats with the business advice. Wow, that was helpful. Just having that chat with someone about my music, oh my god, it was so nice. And so much I didn't know as well about sort of royalties and everything, which is all made me think a bit more business minded about how I can use my music to earn a living, which is what I guess, if you're a musician watching, what you want as well. And of course, please subscribe to my YouTube, and if you enjoyed the video, give it a like. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching. I'm John. Bye.